All right, so welcome to tutoring. So the very first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions on the first page. I'm going to give you 8 minutes.
Are we allowed to talk about them?
Yes.
You can just attempt it first, and then be like, "Hey, I got this. I was thinking this, or whatever." Just attempt it first. Give other people time to think.
Okay, solid. Thank you. Are you gonna play that race?
No one's watching this.
I watched it.
I don't watch it. Listen. I think
You
maybe
should make podcasts.
3. Just do this.
Okay.
Stop
Trying
trying
to
to butter
inspire
me
you.
up.
Let's
No.
develop our
buttery.
YouTube channel so every
It's
single
royal.
person in AP Psych watches.
You're
Focus.
Okay. Hey, babe.
I'm gonna do that.
No, my signature. Did you sign this?
Is it yours?
Oh, I didn't even see that.
I didn't check it.
Choose a circle for your page.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's what you get for
And then
being.
you get rewarded, so.
Second try.
This isn't.
Yes, I didn't get the. Yes. Never heard of yes.
Wait, you've never gone to PS? My grandma loves going to PS.
That's great. We're doing this questions now.
What?
You don't realize.
Oh, right.
That's what like
right.
learning is. Like today on today's test. I didn't know I knew this, but I did this. Yeah.
Wait, have you scanned them yet?
It's on this.
Was it transferred?
I don't think so.
Dis. Okay, I don't think it's video.
I got the right answer. We have to go wrong, right?
Well, because none of the other ones, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome.
It's Oh, yeah. It is, yeah. Because sweet behaviors can why would it be discrimination? It's not covered because most generalization. What is symptomatic desensitization?
That's therapy. Therapy.
Oh, right. Okay, so yeah.
What? Tomorrow.
Okay.
This one is pretty easy.
Hey, this question was there yesterday. Or
Yeah,
2 days ago.
yeah. Which one?
Farming.
Yeah, the very bottom left one. Yeah. Let's see if you remember.
No.
Oh.
I also remember. No, I just was the first.
I said it before I told myself.
Oh, this one. And this one.
You can talk to me. Stop.
Okay,
You're so stupid.
Which is your favorite?
A monkey. I put D for the. Not Italian.
Wait, you put which one? This one or this one?
Like from Jenny. Your
Oh,
mother.
that's a 5.
She ain't really cool. She ain't your mother.
I put B.
Wait, what about
I wasn't just
But maybe.
Sailor.
No, that one.
Focus on that.
I'm done.
She's getting reported. Which is technically.
I don't
That's
know.
for 7.
I don't know this.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Contemporary
Your mother.
Yeah,
Your father. Your granddaughter. And your grandparent.
I was made Skinner.
No.
Okay, got it. Let me think you also a lot of things over. Very.
Okay, are we gonna rotate our nets?
Skinner's
I haven't seen you in so long.
I know.
That's true. Did y'all have a phone as well?
No.
That's what I thought.
I still no, that's Albert.
Exactly. Now my mental health. It's all right. And you're like, no, we're gonna make a row. Oh, we're gonna connect.
You're also gonna need to see the front, just so you can go over and be write things down.
Should we just like?
Hanging. About one more minute.
Wait. Yes, I would say today.
You tried something. That's the unconditional response.
What did he have in the box?
We said let's get
What did he have?
Diego went like this.
Was it?
I said that was the unconditional response to like
That's what I said.
Research it.
So I'm going to check myself.
Okay, let's go over this first page. How do we think? Do we feel like, oh, okay, it's all coming back to us, or it's like, ugh?
Oh, it's a rat.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it like took the left of the ring and then get like.
All right. So let's look at this first question. A monkey is choosing a circle from an array of geometric shapes. Squares, triangles, whatever. Pick the circle in order to be rewarded with a banana. This is an example of what do we think?
A.
Okay. What is habituation? No.
When you get like used to like something.
Used to something, and you no longer kind of sense it. You don't even hear it anymore, see it anymore. It is not A.
is it E?
Okay, so you are saying, here's a circle, here's a triangle, here's a square. You got to pick out the circle. You have to figure out which one is different. Discrimination. Okay, we are having to see which one is different, finding the difference. So when it comes to like classical and operant conditioning, it's like Pavlov's dog salivates to the sound of a bell, but maybe not the sound of like a phone ringing, because they discriminate like, oh, that's actually a different stimulus. Or like, let's say okay, I'm trying to think of operant conditioning. With operant conditioning, it's like your mom says, pick up your socks, and you don't do anything, but then dad's voice comes out like, pick up your socks, and then it's like, oh. And so like that, you realize that there's a difference here. And so you might be able to discriminate. Okay, latent learning, yes, is learning that occurs but you don't know. Oh my God, Ollie. I know that you're on. Just can you take it out of the wrapper?
Not only.
So close. Keep it going. There we. Okay, good. No, we don't have to ink. Okay. So learning that occurs, but you don't know. We're gonna break this line up. You're still not paying attention.
I am paying attention.
It's him.
How are we not getting that? Wow, it got worse. Okay, so
No, keep going. Ignore it.
No, they were.
well, I'm not gonna talk over you.
Talk
So
over
is
it.
it like unconscious learning?
No, it's not unconscious. Well, subconscious learning maybe, but I don't want you to think that this is a Freud thing.
Okay.
This is like I didn't know I knew that until I had a chance to show it.
Okay.
Okay, so learning that occurs,
When you have to.
but you don't know until you have to show it. You didn't know that it occurs until you have a chance to show it. That's what late learning is. Okay. Positive transference is a term, but not in any way related to this unit. The word transference, it has to do with like treatment. So like you go to this is a Freud thing. So psychoanalytic treatment. Ooh, I can't spell. Psychoanalytic treatment where you actually end up transferring your feelings onto your therapist. So let's say that your therapist makes you talk about like your mother and you hate your mother. And so you're going to start like transferring the feelings of hate onto your therapist. So it's like, oh, the therapist is just always nagging and whining and complaining. It's like, well, you feel that way because you're transferring your feelings, what you actually feel for your mother, like onto the therapist. And so that's what, but positive transference would be like positive feelings onto the therapist. But usually transference is typically negative. So, but that has nothing to do with this unit. So sometimes you can eliminate probably 2 answer choices because they're not even in the appropriate unit. It's talking about the brain, and then it gives you something from like, I don't know, something from the learning unit. Or it's talking about like sensation, but then it's talking about cognition. And you're like, those are not even the right units. Okay. Which of the following set of concepts is central to social learning theory? First off, what is another name for social learning theory? Observational learning. Who am I talking about? Albert Bandura. Okay. Albert Bandura. Okay, so let's see which one of these is observational learning. Maybe the one that says the word observation in it. So modeling. It's a very imitation. Monkey see, monkey do. Okay, what type of learning is B? Fixed interval, variable interval, fixed ratio.
That's a conditioning of some sort.
The only 2 answers are operant and classical conditioning. So it is a conditioning of some sort because that's literally all that's left.
Yes.
So the question is, which type of conditioning? It's going to be where you get reinforcement and a fixed variable.
Operational
Yeah, it's an operant. What about G? Sorry, C. I'm just looking at the letter G. C. Generalization, spontaneous recovery, and discrimination.
Couldn't that be either one?
Yes, it can be either one. Good catch. So this could be operant or it could be classical, but it cannot be observational. Acquisition, extinction, and counter conditioning. Nope. Oh, well, actually,
It is either one.
yeah, I'm just focusing. Yeah, okay, either operant and classical. Higher order learning, negative reinforcement, variable ratio.
That's not
Just operant. Okay. So, the only one that goes along with observational learning is letter A: observation, imitation, and modeling. Okay. All right, Addison, I will do.
Wait, so
What you
does
said.
social learning theory associate that with classical?
No.
Right?
Social learning theory associate that with Bandura and modeling and like learning by observation.
Okay.
It's its own thing. So there's 3 types of learning. There's classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and observational learning. That's it. Okay. So whenever Sarah's mother answered the phone, Sarah would yell for her mother's attention, and her mother would end the phone's conversation. Sarah is a brat. When Sarah's mother began ignoring Sarah's yelling, and eventually Sarah stopped behaving that way. So she ignored the behavior, and the behavior went away. The change in Sarah's behavior is an example of what? What? Extinction. Okay? The behavior went away because it wasn't being reinforced. Behavior went away because it wasn't being reinforced. Oh my gosh, I can't spell. Went away because no longer reinforced. All right. Remember, discrimination and generalization, those are opposites of each other. So discrimination is that one's different. That one is different. Generalization is that one is similar. Okay, systematic desensitization. Does anyone know what that is?
Whenever you get exposed to something.
Okay. So that's how you get rid of phobias. It's either flooding, or it's exposure therapy of some kind. Okay, so like not related to this at all. And then spontaneous recovery, and just all of a sudden the response comes back.
Extinction and spontaneous spontaneous recovery, also opposites.
Not okay. Kind of opposites, but extinction has to come first. It can't come back until it's been gone first. So, like in order of operations, extinction for a while, and then all of a sudden spontaneous recovery. Yes. Okay. On this one, it says, which of the following best reflects contemporary interpretations of classical conditioning? So classical conditioning, but like updated. All right, remember classical conditioning is like UCS, UCR, I can't spell, CS, and CR. Unconditioned stimulus, unconditioned response, conditioned stimulus, and conditioned response. Okay. There's a few names in here, and if you actually know your names, it's going to make this question a whole lot easier. Who's Thorndike?
He's the therapy guy.
What?
Never
I mean, he's from this unit, yes.
Oh,
The monkey.
is it like more?
No, the monkey's
That's Colbert. That's Colbert. Okay, so this is the guy that came up with the law of effect, that our consequences affect our actions. This is law of effect. So Thorndike, law
law of EL.
of effect.
EL.
Okay,
Effective law.
sure.
BSC is the
Well, hold on. Law of effect is which conditioning? If your consequences affect your actions in the future, operant. So are we talking, that even classical conditioning?
No.
No. So forget, doesn't matter anything that he said. Like it says Thorndike is operant conditioning. What about Skinner? What type of conditioning is he in? Also, operant conditioning. If you know your names, it's going to help you eliminate answer choices here. When we're talking about classical conditioning, does that have to do with memory? Short and long-term memory. That's cognition. That's the unit of cognition. So not even relevant answer choices. Don't think too hard. You're like, well, maybe it is. If I can make some connection here. Usually, if it's not in the unit that we learned it in, it's not going to be the right answer. All right. So, what?
No, not you.
Okay. B. So updated ideas about classical conditioning. They are primarily based on the theory of continuity. But that's not how you spell what? Contiguity?
I mean, it's missing letters.
It's missing letters. Okay.
I just because right.
Does anyone? Okay. It's the root word here is continuity. But like,
Oh my. You should.
which continues? What continuing? Okay. Like keep on going. Okay.
I'm sorry.
And then they take into account cognitive processes like expectancy. Okay. So contemporarily updated version takes things into account. I would say that a more updated version would say that we're not lab rats. That updated version says like we're probably one step ahead. We probably can expect the food to come. It is C. Okay. These new updated things take into account our cognitive processes, like the dog expecting the reward. The dog, or the not the reward.
I
What?
just want to apologize. What was it before?
In
It's really bad.
Okay.
Really bad.
I can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Chunking is the group.
No! It's that bad. Like, okay, so I got it right.
It's example.
Yeah, I missed you.
No, it's like she really like this is what I want to say.
Okay.
Example now.
A very bad example.
Hey Ryan, we're doing this now. Okay. So the correct answer was C. All right, let's look at this dog. The dog retrieves a newspaper every day because in the past, I'm separating you too soon. No, don't say no. Next time, just okay. You already had a chance to talk about it. That was earlier. A dog retrieves a newspaper every day because in the past it received a food reward for this behavior. The dog's behavior is an example of which of the following? Okay, what does the word unconditioned mean? Because it pops up twice.
Not trained.
Not trained meaning
Not
it's the natural thing. Natural. It is not natural for a dog to get the newspaper like that. That's a trained thing. It's not a natural thing. It is not a natural thing or a response. Okay. For it to be classically conditioned, like the dog salivating, it's involuntary. Is this dog doing this involuntarily? Are they like a zombie that they have no control over their actions? No. They're doing it for a reason. They're doing it for food. If operant conditioning was a choice here, that would be correct. But it's not. Classical conditioning is I cannot help but salivate. Sorry, like completely out of my control. I can't help but salivate. It's not like I'm like, and salivate. No, it's completely involuntary. But operant conditioning, voluntary. It's an operant response. Because it was rewarded. It was it is a conditioned response. That's what I mean. An operant response is a conditioned response. Same thing. That's a CR, by the way. All right. Poor 4-year-old Scott fell down the stairs at his mother's house. Although he was not badly hurt, he was very frightened. Now, whenever his parents mention visiting his grandmother's house, he feels anxious and fearful. In classical conditioning terms, what are the conditioned stimulus and the unconditioned stimulus in this scenario, respectively? First off, what does the word respectively means? In that order. You have to answer it in that order because it literally makes the difference of the question. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the whole setup. UCS, UCR, CS, and CR. All right, what is the unconditioned stimulus? What is the natural thing that created a natural reaction? Okay, so the falling is the natural thing. What was the natural response to falling?
Fear.
Fear. Let's use, he was very frightened. Fear. Okay, what did he associate? What did Scott associate with the fear? Grandma's house. I'm just going to say house. And now what is the response to the house? Fear. Okay, so we're looking for first we're looking for the CS, which is house. House. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. And then UCS. So it should be house and then falling. Because it's looking for two stimuluses. It's not looking for two responses or a stimulus and a response. It's looking for two stimuluses. If you had tried this in your head and you had not set it up like that, chances are you're not going to get it right.
You're right. I did. I was close though. I got A.
All right, we've already covered this one in a previous tutoring. Which one was it? It was priming, which means that you're like set up to think in a certain way or set up to respond in a certain way. You've been primed. I think that's what. Remember how we did the after image effect, where we stared at something like red, and then like you look at something white, and then it's like green. I believe that's like what they mean by you're saturating your red cones. So you're gonna have the after image effect.
Okay, so
not that one, because that's not even. We're not even talking about sensation here.
Yeah, I know that. I just wanted to know what it was.
Yes. Matthew's out of PB&J's. Like out.
I know. Anything else?
Milk.
What's for dinner tonight? Want me to get like a rotisserie chicken?
I thought we could do breakfast tacos. We got all those eggs.
Anything else?
Cuban food. Make some Cuban
How
food.
late can I show up to pick up? And I still, can I get there at like 3:55 and be okay?
I pull in at 4 sometimes, and I'm
Okay.
fine.
You should make some
Hey,
Cuban food.
I had one just break down in tears with stress for my test tomorrow. It's gonna be a good test, especially for 6th period because they have all their computers out in the back and they do that. So I'm gonna select wonderful questions for my 6th period.
Please, no. Miss Taylor.
I love him.
You have to
No,
be not to be nice.
No, I'm not on your side. I'm on his side.
But we're your favorite
His side.
We come to tutoring.
His side.
We come to tutoring.
Oh well, he provides me with a house, and like unconditional love.
No way you
Okay.
got it too.
I all right.
Wait, Morgan. What happened in your class?
Y'all put all. You put all your.
He said they left the computers out. Now he's mad at our class.
Every time too. I think he's.
No, it's
Oh,
Max.
wrong
It's
place,
like that
It's
Max
a
one.
teacher.
Oh,
Like
Max.
Max
and
and
Logan.
Logan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeez, it makes me.
All right. The back. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you notice, questions 29 through 32 are all the same scenario. Okay, go.
So it is.
She might get a more focused.
It's like a classic, generally confused.
I didn't expect it.
So something. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Isn't it a cat?
Yes.
It's
Stimulus is a thing. Stimulus is always a thing.
How is it doing? Because
That's the reason he got. No, you're talking about.
It's not good for cat.
What?
It's for cat.
That's a condition.
It should be cat.
No,
That's a
pet,
condition.
not pet.
Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You petted a cat. You pet a cat.
Yeah. No. Actually, that
No,
doesn't even
it's the cat.
He is currently petting.
Not pet. No.
Hold on. Let's read about
You peed the cat.
I'm not gonna.
To peed.
prevents moving or escaping the cat. That's crazy.
Oh, I really wasn't. What did I eat for dinner? I got it.
You're not invited.
No. No.
You know, he's just the one that took me a question on the test. Send us a question,
I'm not.
an open-ended question. Send us a English.
Yeah. Where's the same way? Doing DC.
It is the slamming door.
The Taylors are Pokemon. You gotta catch them all.
Right? I got lucky.
Oh.
And me next year.
Yes.
I'm excited for this test.
Oh, don't be such a kiss ass.
Dude, did you learn the class?
That is so disrespectful. You'll actually know what I'm doing. I'm not doing that right now.
What if we don't know
You
something?
haven't even answered one yet.
Oh,
Yeah, I know how to make my signature on day one.
Yeah, that's not
That's not nice.
Yeah, that's anti-Dominican Mexican sentences.
As you know what I said. Ooh, brown people.
By the way, during this period, during this tutoring, I've added another quote.
Yeah, I read it too, quotes, as a matter of fact.
I added, I want to stop it.
She's very violent.
I mixed this one up.
That's like that's eco though. I threaten someone in eco every day.
And I only did it
can't
on
wait for
video
eco next
too.
year. No.
You say that now.
She
Okay.
wants to get her Twitter account.
Miss Taylor, are you doing DC Eco?
Yes. DC and AP. If you take advanced eco, you get me. Oh my god, that's right.
Aww.
Yeah.
Are you gonna teach Psych?
That's the goal. That's what they say I can do. Yes.
Okay.
Three different
So, wait, so.
3 different advanced
Oh, God,
classes
I
too.
can't.
Okay, so that, you have all of those AP macro classes, right?
I learned how to get it right.
You're also
What if you know you get it right when we go over
There's
it?
like the DC economics test and like ACM.
You have to use your own brain. You can't use my brain on
It's
the
fixed
computer.
Every
So
day.
They're mostly going to be the same. There'll be some
Interval.
differences.
DC Gov is zero.
So like if you want
I
to
think
take
it's
the
a-
also AP test to get
Yeah,
credit
it's a
to credit,
And
ratio. It's
you'll be able to do that.
That was one. I feel like a lot of people
Significant.
Yeah, I know what it was. Yeah,
destroyed.
But at least
I was gonna
this is a part of it.
No, they took away.
They
They
took
didn't give her.
I feel like I should just want to whenever like we start off like looking at pictures.
Yeah, negative.
Negative. That's so negative. Wait. No, that's a punch.
Is that Biggie too?
Oh,
Yes.
Say Biggie too.
She's taking 7 AP classes.
The only reason you want Psych is
It's
because
fine. Like you're inside of it.
Okay. Oh.
In a parallel universe.
Well, I
also
also
tried
You can, like,
I cried last year because freshman year.
Oh, also, yeah, it was about the. That's so weird.
Like,
He could have just told me. I swear to God. Yeah,
I feel like whenever I
Yeah, they call you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can park. It's like you can.
I heard that it was basically just textbook work and I didn't want
I
to
told you that you're gonna get
Parking
out
on
of
the
here.
handicap is.
I told you that
It's hard to
yesterday.
get
That's not bad. It's not how I
3 months.
I will hype you up.
No.
It's her birthday today.
Yes, it's her. Yeah, 3 months.
I was always saying for that birthday. And then it wasn't you, and I was like,
What she doesn't.
All I know is Carly's mom's birthday.
oh my.
Okay, a couple more minutes on that page.
Oh, you weirdo. You make it weird every time.
A good thing.
No.
How many, like, you call me back? He comes half again.
Yes.
No,
no, it's supposed to be. It's half and it's
You
supposed to be
played
half.
what?
Miss Taylor.
Oh, that's.
Because it's in the same class in college. I mean, technically psychology in college would be half of graduation.
Use your own brain. Look at pictures and then be like,
Not like forceful.
When you're a kid.
I remember.
I love
You get that escape.
Yes, that's one.
Oh, well.
One of them like,
You know what little kids.
oh,
Xander, are you
yes,
done?
sir.
Yeah. Peter shirt.
I didn't do it.
I think I have
Good.
to picture when I was with her.
I was literally a Peter shirt alcoholic.
I'm really confident in the first.
No, I have no, it's not. It's not.
No.
I don't think so. What is it?
It's like, I don't know, it's like chowder that goes in your milk, and it's tasty very good.
what is
There's fixed and variable.
It's like a,
We got to narrow down to that. Continuous means every single time. Every single time. It's continuous. The question is which one means time. There's ratio and then there's
There's
variable.
numbers.
I got
Self-definition is deep.
But
You good?
You still had a hard time saying that.
I like it.
You still had a sorry.
Good vibes.
Efficacy.
Is that the right?
I have to get a,
Efficacy.
my mom.
See, that word I can
applied
say.
for it.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if
I
Tyler
like this like
graduated
ninja
there.
obstacle course.
For like kids,
Yeah.
you get free
Let's go. I got the point because I'm
Interval is time.
Miss Taylor, what's your favorite country?
Country music?
Country.
Rose.
My favorite country.
Just like from the vibes.
From the vibes. What gives the best vibes?
Yeah,
Like, where
There's only one right answer.
No.
I was exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna say
United States of America.
yeah, but also for and just vibes,
There you go. It's like what you know.
I'm gonna say like
I'm out of psychology stuff.
I'm gonna go.
What did you get?
What continent?
Denmark.
I'm not white.
I'm gonna say like
You're like
Greece, Luxembourg.
Oh, you.
No, Greece.
You like money?
Yeah.
She loves money.
Like okay, Italy. Italy gives great vibes. You got the food, you got the wine, you got mountains. You're a hoot. That's just great. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh my
mother.
god, you have
Yeah,
this.
but-
I really bad.
All right, let's do this.
Oh my gosh.
Hey. Hi, sis. All right, here we go. All right, so let's do all of these instead of like going back and forth. Let's just do all of these straight down in the row. Carl, with a K, goes to see Dr. Norton to help him overcome his fear of cats. His fear began in childhood when he petted a cat and someone slammed a door. Every time Carl petted the cat, the door slammed. Now, who is responsible for the door? Now, whenever Carl sees a cat, he becomes very anxious. All right. It's not panic attacks. He's not like having this random burst of anxiety. It's like because of cats. So he has a specific phobia. Generalized all the time anxiety. Conversion disorder is usually some sort of like physical ailment.
Oh, that's the one that's actually.
The physical ailment, like every time he sees cats, maybe he like goes blind. then that would be conversion disorder. But that's not what's happening. OCD, you have like those, think of the hand washing, the washing and counting, things like that happen with OCD. While panic disorder is like those bursts, those panic attacks. All right, so he just has this specific phobia. All right, so in the development of Carl's fear of cats, what is the UCS? So we're going to do the whole spiel because we need practice. So UCS, UCR, CS, and CR. So when you're asked one or two or all of these, just do the whole thing. Do the whole story. You have time. So UCS is the natural thing that had a natural response. What was the natural thing? The door slam. What was the natural response to the door slam? Does it say? Fear, scared. Okay. What did he associate now with the door slam? Now what's his response? Fear. As asking for the UCS, which is the very first one, which is the slamming of the door. It is natural to jump and to be startled by the slamming of the door because it's a loud noise. All right, moving on to Dr. Norton. Put the cat in the room with Carl. And he prevents it. You cannot avoid it. You cannot escape. Okay.
That's super.
This is slow. Systematic desensitization is slow. It would be like not cat first, but like a picture of a cat or a stuffed animal of a cat or a video of a cat. It's flooding. Okay, so aversion therapy is when you are trying to have a negative, I'm trying to condition you to have a negative association with something. So aversion is also like people that chew their fingernails, they put like the nasty paint on there, so you have an aversion now to chewing your fingernails. So you're trying to tie in a negative, you're trying to create a negative association. Trying to create a negative association. While counter conditioning, how are you still talking? Okay, counter conditioning would be like, I am doing, okay, so you had the door slam that caused you to be fearful of cats. But now I want you to have a positive association with cats. Not just like, don't be afraid of cats, more like exact 180, let's be loving of cats. So every time you get a cat, you're going to be around a cat, you get a piece of chocolate. So it's not like I'm just trying to like null the fear. I'm trying to counter condition. You had a fear. Let's see, opposite of fear is like love. So now it's like, I'm going to make you love it. Xander, what are you saying?
I said unslam the door.
Open it real slowly. All right. And last one for Carl. Carl has been reluctant to try therapy to change his fear because he believes that his efforts to change are ineffective. He is saying, I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't do it is not the same thing as I am not worthy. It is not the self-concept of who am I. It's I cannot do this. And that's self-efficacy.
What is self-regulation?
I don't even know.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that like
Self-regulation is like
homeostasis?
homeostasis.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah.
Self-control.
Biology.
Self-control, yeah.
Which having an allergy to the cat should be natural aversion therapy.
Yes. All right.
Allergy.
All right, let's go back to the top of the page. All right, Sheila has a favorite book that she enjoys naturally. She loves it. She's read it several times. This book is now assigned to her in her literature class, and you think that she would love it. And the students receive external, outside praise. They get rewards for each chapter that they read. And as the class progresses through the book, Sheila finds that she enjoys it less. So she is getting a reward for something she already loves to do. So she is getting extrinsic motivation for something loves to do. And she's going to do it less. What is that called? Over justification effect. Okay. Cognitive dissonance is when your actions do not align with your attitudes. So you change your attitude. You change how you think. You don't change your behavior. Habituation is like you get used to things, used to unchanging things. And extinction is just like the going away, right, of a response. So response is fading. Yes. Figure you were banging around.
Sorry.
Okay. All right, let's talk about this 4-year-old, this little future serial killer over here. Hey, Chris.
The anchoring and adjustment. What is that?
I don't know. It's a great question.
Okay, solid.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Google.
Yeah, but like, actually Google
What
it.
are you doing?
Yeah, hold on. Let's go.
She's petting the board. She peed it.
I feeded it.
It's a heuristic.
What?
Anchoring and adjustment.
What is
It's
here?
a
history on
heuristic. A heuristic when a person starts off with the initial idea and adjusts their beliefs based on a starting point.
How's that different than a simulation and accommodation?
I don't know.
It's just a different word.
Ah,
It's just not.
let's just all have one word for everything.
The more you
Okay.
It's pizza.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
All right.
Why is this randomly there?
A 4-year-old child frequently pulled on the dog's tail to get attention. Fabulous. To reduce this to reduce this behavior. If you want to increase the behavior, what are you going to do? Well, just reinforcement in general. Reinforcement increases the behavior. I'll just write that down. So reinforcement increases behavior. Punishment lowers the behavior. It stops the behavior. Positive means adding something, while negative means to take it away.
Native takes it away.
Can you be quiet? I'm trying to focus.
Okay. They want to reduce the behavior. If you reinforcement, that's going to just keep on happening. So they need to punish it. So they're trying to do punishment, not reinforcement.
Let the dog bite the child.
The parent took away 1 hour of television every time that the child pulled the dog's tail. They're taking away something to stop the behavior, so it's got to be negative punishment. Within 1 week, the undesired behavior will significantly reduce. That is negative punishment.
That's on
Look at you up here. Okay.
That's on baby. Positive punishment means that they're giving something to decrease the behavior.
Positive punishment is letting the dog bite them.
Yes, that would be
Wait,
positive.
this,
Positive punishment.
AP Psych test in the morning, the afternoon.
I was literally about to
It's
ask
at
that.
noon.
Yeah, it's
I
at
was
noon.
like,
I would do way better in psychology if it was later in the day.
We go after.
I'm so tired in the mornings. I get like 3 hours of sleep.
After school.
most
Yeah,
nights.
but state dependent memory. You have class in the morning.
He doesn't pay attention.
I do. Well, yeah, I do actually. This is the one class I do pay attention.
Thank you.
And,
Same as me.
Okay.
and I still do bad.
Great.
we're gonna get fives, and you make fun of us for not paying attention. We're still gonna get fives. Just watch us.
Yeah, I will. And then I will see you next year and I will let you know what I think.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm
I'm threatening
scared.
you. You better get a 5, otherwise
Well, I'm gonna get a 5.
I'll just take it out on you and Eco.
Kill Trevor.
Okay.
I'm going to get a
No,
No one
leave
likes
Trevor
it.
Piker out of this. Okay, so positive punishment, like Oni said, is letting the dog bite him. That would be adding a bite to stop the behavior. If you reinforced it, wow, good job. It doesn't say, good job, little Johnny. Then they're just gonna keep on pulling the dog's tail. Okay. In order to get the more audience participation, a radio show offers a prize to the first person to call the show. Every first person. At the beginning of every hour. Not a random number, but every so it's fixed. Okay, continuous means every person that calls at any time of the day gets a prize. No, it's continuous reinforcement. There's like no schedule, like every
time.
but it's like everything, all of the things. Okay, I don't want to say every time because then it's like, well, is it only time? Okay, so fixed, every person, so it's not variable. Interval means time and a clock. On a clock. While ratio means number of behaviors. So, at the beginning of every hour. Oh, I see why you were stuck on this one. Because you were saying you have to call.
Yeah, but that would be like every like 6 calls or whatever.
No, she's not arguing the fixed variable. We know it's fixed. But is it, okay, like, well, you have to call to play.
Yeah,
But it's every hour.
The key is
Yeah, I think the key is hour. And so it's got to be fixed interval because interval means time. Don't do that. Okay.
It's underlined.
All right, anything of learning, classical and operating conditioning that you want to go over before we go to the FRQ?
Who are the main people?
Oh, yeah.
May I recommend looking at the second page, the next page?
Ah,
Okay.
nice.
In fact, okay, so let's do number 2 first.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to give you 5-7 minutes to look at the number 2, researchers investigating.
Edward Thorndike? We talked about him right now.
Yeah, no.
I just
E.L. Thorndike.
He was in
Or
Odie's mind.
L.E. or Law
Yeah,
of
that's
Effects.
the only one
Law
I
of
don't
Effects.
recognize.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Wait, but can you put for the test? Is it gonna be
Thorndike
like
is Law of Effects.
How
Law of
is it
Effects.
What?
For the test, is it gonna be like
Effect.
initial?
I have no idea.
It's their initial.
I don't write the test, so I don't know.
Okay, so let's do Thorndike. What
It's
next?
operant.
Law of effect.
Law of Effect means that if we do
Like a
this.
thorn.
No, are you saying that? No, you're just saying it's E.L.
No, 'cause this EL might not come actually.
Okay, well, I'm just remembering E.L. Yes, Skinner. Skinner's box. Pavlov. Pavlov's box. Van der Rohe. Van der Bobo. Model. No, this one's modeling. This one's observational. This one is condition response. He's classical condition. This guy's Skinner's box. This guy, Edward Thorndike. He's also he's the one that discovered. Yeah.
Hold on, Shannon, let me see you.
Baby.
Leave Odie alone.
No,
at least that was 0%.
Oh, it is.
No, I think it's on the.
It is.
I never told you.
Oh.
No, I thought he was calling himself a baby.
What? No, it's on baby.
I don't know why that's the.
Like,
Like the
Since
baby.
you're looking at things,
yeah.
I want to
Baby
know
on
if
baby.
it's weird because I
No,
don't
now it's bothering me.
He's using.
It literally reminds me of my brother.
Currently, I'm just waiting
I almost said something super,
Yes.
Well,
super
okay, so,
bad.
alright,
Can you guess what I was gonna say?
Something
Something racist.
Okay.
And I did running on top of that, I was like, again.
No. No, I said it might have worked.
Yes, I know.
I cannot read this. What does it say?
Look at me. I'm like, oh my
You are
God.
though.
How was anyone do this?
You idiot.
That's not true.
I have.
One drop rule.
Bobo.
One drop rule. You won't count it.
Rats inbox more effective.
That looks like it says Rari in 6.
Yeah, they're
Rats inbox.
not the best grades we've ever had, but they're definitely like everyone's.
Oh my goodness. A child cries when she sees a large pile of peas on the dinner plate. Why?
How many you should be like a voice.
Yo.
Like
Like a voice actor?
Yes.
He just.
I want to give you
Yo,
a voice.
what?
Do the FRQ, like he was like.
Shit.
She saw
He had time to do the FRQ. It's like, oh,
a
you just
adult
started to cry.
crying.
What, is she scared of them?
No, it's not. I
You
can't
didn't
even
read
read
it.
it.
It's a
I'm
date
gonna say
survivor.
she's scared.
You just can't read questions.
I need it real quick, twin.
And then help us.
No, but you have to tell, you have to tell Matt De Silva that you
If she don't eat,
Matt De Silva and I are huge nerds for
she gets punished.
Something my husband does not love.
What?
Video games.
Why?
Isn't like
I thought you liked that.
I do.
Is it because he's bad at them?
He didn't grow up with video games.
he was a latchkey kid.
He was a latchkey
Do you
kid.
think she would like
my dad was a lot.
Really?
I thought she would not.
That's just because you don't
You
like
can-
it. That's your frequency
no.
bias.
You can tell.
Like at the beginning,
No,
she liked the story, but
no,
she was like,
one look at her, you can tell she's a Nintendo person.
Yeah, you
Miles.
I feel like she can drift like
know.
a day. and then she
She's
gets
like
tired.
a Nintendo person. She's like the person that go home and start playing Mario Kart.
Have you seen the movie? It was really good.
I did see it. I saw it last weekend.
Did you like the song that Jack Black sang?
Yeah, that's just Jack Black being Jack Black.
I still don't check the hit.
She's a Nintendo person.
Maybe call by accident. No call.
She'll never play. On
Have
any
you ever
other.
played COD?
I feel like she's one of those diehard Nintendo people. You'll never play on something else. Like you'll never play on a computer, Xbox, PlayStation, never.
What is your play?
But I guess you would just.
A Switch.
If they get a Switch,
What is it?
yes, but in college it was a PC.
Because this one's like.
Is that so?
That's respectable. What was
Is
your
that
favorite
so?
PC?
World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
She's a worker.
No,
That means she likes logical
I like
and
the
Wait, what?
age.
Wait, what?
I
know.
She's so typical.
Thanks. Actually, no, I was a lot. That's why I was gonna log.
Warlock.
Or maybe.
She'd be a warlock in Destiny.
Ask her.
Would you be? Do you know Destiny 2?
It's
So are you gonna write anything down?
Destiny.
Is that like a thing
I
that
wrote
y'all
it
do?
Oh, like this thing? Actually, answer. I thought we were
Like,
waiting
look
for
at
something.
these ladies. Look at them going.
Oh, I just write down next to it. Like
I thought you wanted to.
it's short, it's all short and sweet, you know.
I put Skinner 2 words. It's short and sweet.
Effects.
I thought we were waiting for something. My bad. That's on me. That's my fault.
We had a skip line? Is that true?
It's really appreciated if you do skip a line on your FRQs. So like, okay, as I was making the key, like I did not. But like,
You have to explain all of it.
so like, if you skip a line, it just makes it easier to read, and to figure out where one question ends and where one answer, like another one begins.
I know, I looked, I was like,
You're like,
oh, what's like my
"Hmm."
name?
You know what?
Is it good?
Imaginary
I have
scenario,
not
she
read
got
it.
a twin. She cried
But
when
it's
she shared the piece because she saw her twin.
The way.
The twin.
Oh my gosh.
Twin?
Miss Taylor,
That's
I
right,
was so
I'm
racist
thinking
in my
that
FRQ. Because the heuristic.
What'd you put?
Well,
Well, at first I put that she saw someone wearing glasses, so it's like, oh, that's smart. Then I was like, wait, maybe I need to go a little more specific. Then I said, what about
Like
Asians,
preparing
how they
for
got very smart. And then in capitals it said, I promise I'm not racist.
okay.
I mean, it's.
Whenever you have to.
Technically it's not.
I mean, you're not wrong.
So,
Okay, are we ready to? Are we ready to look at number 2 and only number 2? Okay. Researchers invest and okay. Let me just preface this. Do we have to know names?
Yes, of course.
1 year, the test was like all names.
Oh,
Okay.
I would probably
The
be-
next year, there was not a single name, not even Freud.
Not even
Not even Freud. So it's like I have no idea what the last year's test looked like because I wasn't tutored and I didn't have access to like.
Can you look now?
Wait, why don't we just
Why don't we
They
ask
just-
released the test.
why
They
don't
only
we-
released the FRQs.
Why don't
That's
you
the teacher.
Why don't we just ask
There's a
someone?
post-conventional thinking.
Wait, I know who I can ask.
I can
Um,
answer other parts.
All right, so I don't know how name heavy the test is going to be because it literally changes from year to year, and so I don't know. All right, so speaking of, let's talk about names. Explain how each of these theorists might explain this example of behavior and response. A child cries and she sees a child cries when she sees a large pile of peas on her dinner plate. All right, Thorndike, you have to say something about the law of effect. Have to say something about the law of effect. Did anyone tell me what you wrote for law of effect or your thoughts about law of effect, and I will say yay or nay. Abby, go. Law of effect.
Wait, were we supposed to say something about?
Yes.
You stub your toe.
But you need to say something about law of effect. I'm just wondering, like, how would you have answered this question using law of effect?
Like when you stub your toe.
Yeah, that's literally not have anything to do with it. It has to be a child cries.
Oh, it was previously like, rewarded.
Okay, maybe. Maybe like last time she cried. It doesn't have to be about
It
a.
tastes like crap.
Oh my god.
It doesn't have to do with peace.
It doesn't have to
got
be about
taken away.
Yeah, or she would cry and then she got consoled, and that was like reinforcement of like, oh honey, and she was, oh well, that's really nice. That was a really nice feeling, that being consoled, and so she is responding to something that happened in the past.
Would the B.F. Skinner response be the exact same except without the law of effect?
You have to say something about reinforcement and punishment. So, like, you have to use the term law of effect versus Thorndike, and you have to talk about either reinforcement or punishment. Either of them. You don't have to talk about both of them, but you need to use those words.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, Thorndike would look at her behavior and say that in the past, she learned, based off of her effects in the past, she learned that when she cried, she would be consoled. And so based off the law of effect, she's more likely to cry, so she gets consoled. Something like that. B.S. Skinner, reinforcement and punishment. Last time she cried, she was... Well, and then she wouldn't do it more often. Oh, how about this? How about this?
Wait, why would you do it more often?
If she got spanked.
Last
No,
time she cried.
She wouldn't do it more often, but she is crying here. So the punishment, she must not have been punished because she's continuing to cry. Does that make sense?
Maybe when she cried the first time, or whatever she wanted got given to her. So like,
Right.
maybe the piece got taken away. So that's what she learned.
The piece were taken away, and that reinforced her crying. So she's more likely to cry in the future, expecting her piece will be taken away from her. But you also could have said, if a parent wants to, it just says explain this behavior in response. It doesn't have to be the child's response. It could be the parent's response. It could say, if a parent wants to stop this behavior, they should punish the behavior. Or, if you want to be fancy, you can say ignore the behavior completely, because then the behavior will be extinguished. Because those extinguished, discrimination, and generalization, all of those are B.F. Skinner's words. So you don't have to use reinforcement and punishment if you're using like acquisition, discrimination, things like that. All right, Pavlov, classical conditioning. You don't have to be here.
But I want to be.
Yeah.
I'm not worried, just by the way.
I don't care. All right. Ivan Pavlov, classical conditioning. So you can say, oh goodness, this one's hard. This one's gotta like, you guys, what? Matt, look, do y'all have a good answer for this one?
No,
I know what else to
Addison, I would love to hear your classical conditioning answer. Okay. So you can say that, oh God, every time in the past, her parents, as they gave her peas, they slapped her upside the head. And she now learned to associate peas with a slap. And so it's all like, here's your piece, slap, here's your piece, slap, here's your piece, slap, and here's your piece, blah. So she's associated peace with a slap, which is why she's now crying, because she's expecting to be slapped.
It's actually
Officer, I was just interested in classical conditioning.
While she was petting the cat. Okay, no. So I slammed the cabinet where the keys came from while she was slamming.
Right, oh no.
Slamming the cat.
All right.
Cat thing.
The cat slammed the...
Yes.
Okay. All right, observational learning. All right, So once again, you can talk about her behavior or her parents' behavior. So her parents should model eating peas, happily, smiling eating peas. So she's more likely to imitate what she sees, the smiling and eating peas. Yes, ma'am.
I put a whole new character in, but
No, it's fine. I love
Okay.
new characters.
I said that she cried when she saw the peas because she saw her twin brother do the same thing when he
Oh.
had peas.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yes, no, that's good. She was the one that was doing the she was not modeling. He was modeling
Yeah.
the bad behavior, and she was just copying the bad behavior. She's an innocent victim in all of this. I love it.
I said the dad was crying.
The dad was crying. God. I just got laid off at crying eating peas, and she's all like, "Yeah, me too." Okay. So for this next bit, I want you to do number 1, but I want you to do your number 1 quietly and by yourself.
Okay. I'll do my best.
How was this? All this on? Yes, it's gonna work.
I did.
It's still gonna work.
Because I didn't do number 2. I did number 2 up here because I knew this was going to take a long space. I mean, there is a back, Maddie.
Wait, do we have to?
I know.
Question. Wait, so do we have to do like a yada yada? This is how it works. Or can we like mix them up? Like we can use positive reinforcement.
It has to be in order.
It has to be in order.
It has to be in order.
Oh, you can do like C, A.
Like I was gonna write a whole sentence mentioning each.
Literally, what the O is in sodas. You have to go in order. And if you can't think of B, you just skip some space and you go to C. Okay, they're not
grade my effort.
They're not going to count off for that, but that helps them grade. And you want to help them grade because you don't want to piss them off and they're grading your paper.
Just gonna dislike you.
Okay, how about we do things to make them happy? In fact, you could just like maybe tape $100 bill on your review and then send that in.
If you take
Or the minimum wage.
Can't
I don't
hurt.
pay for the minimum wage mistake.
Oh no, well maybe a $2, $1. 50 cents.
A $2 bill is a rare. You just you're a nerd. I want to, Jay.
They are teachers
Oh,
that teach the subject.
I know like Heimlich did it, but
No,
did he? Yes, it.
also I'm like,
I follow him on TikTok.
what if they like?
Oh, you already did
What
this.
if they literally like?
Find out first.
Oh, I Ooh, that was. I want to see how I spell next. Ooh, top 10. What is that?
Galio G.
There's no way.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what shaping is. I don't know what
I don't.
Why is it
Where's
She pulled up like the darkness.
I don't know what senses are, bro.
That's what
There's way too many.
I do it for me.
Why do you send your mother?
Don't be a turd.
I think my mother's name. I don't
Wow, so helpful.
Your mother.
Don't worry, he'll come by.
Wait, what shape do you
Do y'all have burgers?
I think I'm
Do you have burgers?
Wait, can you name the
Sure.
Wait, what's shaping?
Shaping can manipulate that over to be a specific form.
You haven't even started.
Behavior, right? Am I right or am I right?
Remember the little pigeon that was kind of moving at random and like they would turn a little bit to the left and they got a reward? And they would turn even more to the left and they got a reward? And finally they had turned into a full circle until they got a reward. That shape.
If they can't read it, they take more time.
Just because
Okay.
classical's like.
If they
If
can't
they
read,
cannot read your handwriting, they do not give you credit. No.
we're not typing.
Galio.
Such a silly
Galio
We're not
G.
typing ours, right? Like it's just gonna be digital.
Katie has.
No, they're writing. Your handwriting.
Wait, why is only one of them?
Wait, so
It was up to it was up to the department.
what's the
Oh, it wasn't up to you?
No, it was up to me. I'm the
Why did you
psychology
pick?
department.
Oh, you already picked her.
Just right now, it's only offered on paper. And I will always pick paper.
Oh, maybe I saw something else. Because I saw the A-push video.
They push
Push
is
is
electronic.
No, but they showed like all the different like squares that would go
Maybe
digital.
it is. So they
I saw
sell
some
it
of
to like make up
Would you agree?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
that's, like, you can do whatever you want, pretty much.
As long as you are answering the question and showing knowledge of that term, you can do as silly and crazy as you want.
Yeah,
my
like,
water
I
bottle.
literally have a magical unicorn model of behavior. for
Yes.
this- Really? Yeah. We love Psych.
It's so real.
I feel like that's like
My
the
bad.
same thing as
I'm
the
gonna enter you.
Like, that's where it's like,
I've heard it for really.
Taylor, I'm actually so sorry. I don't mean to do this. I'm just getting stressed.
seasonal.
Yeah, I said they lived in like New York or something. I don't remember.
So we said.
I came up with that so fast.
I don't know.
The bell rang and I started my after cue. Yeah, but it was really bad.
Dinner.
I'm really
I'm
slow.
going
Dinner.
to injure
Extra
you.
time.
Can you do this?
Right. I actually forgot.
Like, will they know, like, if you put, like, the letters for
Okay, first off,
negative reinforcement?
you know, you can't do like something colon.
Hey, but I still got.
Oh, it's not colon.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Like, don't.
Don't abbreviate.
I was with NR is the, I mean, could be used with the child, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah, no.
They don't want that.
There are some negative
I'm going to deploy you.
No.
Whatever the largest category is on your DNA test.
I'm gonna say that's me,
Wait, what is this? Why do you put emoji
Your
here?
DNA?
So
Well, that's where you're
Why do you put emoji
Okay,
here?
do you
Oh.
do you recommend like
Yeah.
one sentence, sentences?
I would say, okay, if like today on today's FRQ, it was define and explain. I would do one sentence for define, one sentence for explain.
Okay, well, what if I just.
Some of you only explained and not defined, which was not good.
Shame.
because that's
I always-
capitalized.
I always make sure to define. And then
Okay, so pause
John,
for
read it
reinforcement. So I just put when sharing a toy
No.
while against candy.
There's a
Wait, sorry.
No.
At the end of today.
Like I just do it.
Like I meant.
on my shoulder? What am I like this on my hard side?
It's like
Looks like a ball.
super ready to go over it.
Okay, how we doing? We ready?
Super ready.
I was looking at 100 days of long division, and then I started doing that in my.
Wait, 100 days of what?
It said it right there, 100 days of long division, and I was like,
That was a
long
gift from
division.
I messed up on a division question in class in eco.
We should.
So they got me a practice book because I have a hard time dividing.
That's fun. That's great.
What is invested for us?
Practice.
It's an inside joke from last semester's 6th period class.
I could deduce that, but I can explain. I'm serious.
Yes, psychoanalyze.
They believe that we should get rid of our money in the United States and go to not a gold standard anymore, but a brass standard. And everything should be in brass.
Is that so?
Why?
They had no reason. They said brass is where it's at.
They probably were like
They're just trying to be
abandoned.
quirky.
They're probably in band.
Orchestra.
Nerd.
Oh.
Besides Abby, Abby's the only orchestra.
Orchestra. I say that as if I haven't imagine like playing a string instrument. Like,
You're not
so
required. I thought you were
I've
required.
done
like get a
choir,
real job.
and
You're gonna have to prove them wrong.
I had to do.
Okay, all right.
You're
Let's
right.
talk about sharing a toy with our siblings. Okay, so for extinction, I'm gonna read mine, and then if you would like, you may give me your ideas, and I would say whether I would give you credit or not. Okay, here we go. Extinction. I said, when a child complains about having to share, you don't respond to their behavior. Eventually, the behavior will be extinct since it's not being reinforced.
Yeah.
Very
I said
good
after,
answer.
like stopping their work.
Wow.
After.
Miss Taylor, it's so smart.
Okay, so operant conditioning is all about reinforcement of punishment. So to make it clear which one I'm talking about, notice how I said reinforcement. It's not being reinforced, so it's going to go away.
So if you don't share, you can.
I said removing the reinforced behavior.
Yes, can you give an example of the reinforced behavior?
Could be used to stop a child. No. I didn't have any first time. I was scared that I was going to
One of
I know
this one. One sibling keeps stealing Bobby's toy. Bobby learns not to chase said kid. Back to piece of wood.
Why? How's that anything to do with extinction?
And he didn't learn not. I don't know.
you have to talk about, because it's operant conditioning, you have to talk about reinforcements and punishments. And behaviors that are not continually reinforced will eventually go away. Or things that are not punished for a long time will eventually come back. Okay, yes.
Can you say your answer?
Yes. When a child complains about having to share, don't respond to the behavior. Eventually the behavior will go extinct since it's not being reinforced.
Extremely smart.
Thank you.
You sound
Academics.
Wow. I would hope so.
It's almost like you
I
know
am
the
good
entire
at
fluid
subject.
intelligence.
Yeah, actually not. There's some words I don't know.
Is
Like
that
apparently
so?
that
She's
thing
also
is-
learning.
Is that so?
Okay, yeah. Okay, B, which is positive reinforcement. This is what I put. I said every time the child shares, give them a cookie to positively reinforce the sharing. They will now share more often.
That's exactly what I said. After the child shares the toy, they got a cookie.
Nice.
Exactly.
I would share if I got cookies.
I'll
Okay.
do anything.
Did anyone put something on B? They're not quite sure though. Okay. On C, modeling. The parents need to model sharing in front of the child so they can learn by observing others.
I put the parents.
I put a child can see their best friend sharing.
I put the mom and dad sharing.
Mom and dad sharing in front of the child. Yeah. And the child copies that behavior.
Right next to
Oh, yeah,
The magic unicorn shares. Yes.
Actually place us in a family.
I said the parents.
He's an Oscar.
Okay, D, negative reinforcement. Okay, I went a little extreme with this because negative reinforcement is I will take away something that you don't like. Like I will take away your homework because you guys did such a good job. So I'm taking away something that they don't like so that they will share. I'm not trying, okay, so I know this sounds like punishment, what I'm about to say. I said the parents can hit the child until they share. The parents will stop hitting the child until they share, so they're more likely to share. So it has to be something that the parents will take away from the child, not as punishment. Taking away something bad. I will take away your chores if you share. I will take away, you know what? I will take away your laundry. I'll do it for you if you share. I will take away your early bedtime. So if you share. Alright?
Is that being a push?
What if it's like, I'll stop ignoring you if you share?
Maybe they're good things to the parents.
I will stop ignoring you. Ignoring is a bad thing. Yes, that's good.
Oh, see?
Yes. I went to hitting the parents. Okay.
I will stop slapping them.
Not a red line.
Like the annoying
Okay.
sharing song.
Alright,
I will
shaping.
release them from the cage.
Shaping.
I will
the cage. Share. Oh my god.
I'll let you out for an
That's
hour.
so dark.
What if I put that in? I will unlock my child for 1 hour. I will I will make you. I will make you.
I will release my grip. Okay.
I will unlock the leash.
Shaping. All right. So I said the parents need to begin training the child by giving a reward every time they get close to the behavior of sharing until they do the desired behavior and then only then rewarded once the child shares. So like you have to get close to sharing. Like you get a reward for a little bit of sharing and then a little bit more of sharing and then all of a sudden you only get the reward if you do the whole thing. Shaping. I'm shaping the behavior into what I want it to be.
Like Play-Doh.
Sure, like Play-Doh.
Y'all are off.
Okay. Any questions on shaping?
No.
Anyone want to throw shaping at me, so then I'll tell them your name.
Shaping is like you. What is shaping again?
You're manipulating.
So like you are giving small rewards for like getting close to the behavior that I want.
Okay.
This is when you first are telling them like sharing is good, and so like this is the beginning part of like learning. Okay, and last one, extinction, but with classical conditioning. Remember, classical conditioning is involuntary. It is UCS, UCR, CS, and CR. So remember, with Pavlov's dog, this is ringing the bell, ringing the bell, ringing the bell, but never bringing the food. So eventually they're going to stop salivating. That salivation is going to be extinct. So what I put, okay, I don't like this. Okay, but it says, I give the child a shock every time that they complain about sharing. They will stop complaining about sharing. If the shocks don't continue, the complaining about sharing might return.
Spontaneous recovery.
Yeah,
So why does it mention that last part?
because I got distracted.
Oh.
So
Wait, do you mean like a shock, like an electrical shock?
You could be, okay, slap could be, but they have to make a connection. So every time they share, give them, that's such a positive
It's okay.
reinforcement. Okay.
Okay, but is you give them like a mouse a cookie, is that like with reinforcement? You know that book?
Yes.
But then it just like goes in circles and it has no ending.
Yes.
So what is it then?
What
Because he
if
gets trained
A
then.
bad piece of literature. Hello.
could an answer be that oh wait, never mind.
can
Okay.
I try my answer?
What?
The child could be starved whenever he, she, it doesn't share, therefore
She,
causing
it.
the extinction of the bad non-sharing behavior.
He, she, it.
I'm
That
gonna.
sounds like punishment.
Can we have better?
But technically,
So it's
wait,
hard.
Okay.
are we sure?
You have to make a connection.
But it's starved because they need it.
It's starved. Why is it?
Remember the shark thing in a plant?
Wait,
No,
there's
not
that.
necessarily.
Is it punishment something that leads to extinction?
Like Morgan.
The parent like sets a timer, and then when the timer goes off, okay, you have to share with your sibling. And then they
Okay.
keep doing the timer, so it's more like.
Okay, so there's like a sharing time. And so it's like, I'm gonna set the timer, and when it goes off, sharing time begins. And so it goes off, and they start like, and they're like, okay, time to share. I like that.
Only, and then when it turns off, it's expected.
Wait, so, but I thought, like, what Morgan said,
How's that
still use.
That's a great question. How is that extinction? This is, if you forget to set the timer, and you stop having the timer go off, eventually they're not gonna start doing sharing
They
time.
can only, unless you say fear enough, then they can only share.
Yes.
Because the threat of the kill.
Would it count though? Would you give
The
it?
threat of the kill? The cage.
Like, the punishment still has to be.
Okay.
No, it cannot be punishment. Punishment is operant conditioning. It has to be something
It's a
subconscious.
shock. That's like a punishment.
I know, but it was like more, yeah, I like yours better.
What did you do?
That's what we do in our house.
What do you do?
Set a timer, and when the timer goes off.
Alright.
Okay, if you would like to see your Scantron grade for today,
Would you still give it partial, or what would you give?
I would have to look at, there was like, so I made this up, I made that question up, that's not an actual FRQ. I'd have to look at the rubric, and I'd have to go along with that. Where's my phone? Oh, here it is.